you have seen the race-swapped Little Mermaid, but what I don't think you're ready for is a trans Little Mermaid. Because if Disney is going to cast a white person in any of their roles, you're going to have to make compromises. And this is it. Disney has just put out a casting call seeking transgender actors to play both Ariel and Prince Eric in an all-new Little Mermaid musical attraction at Disney Hollywood Studios in Florida.
Okay.
The role is being cast as white this time, unlike Disney's live-action remake, but there's a catch. You can't be cisgendered.
This is a degree of disbelief that Disney is expecting me to suspend. So, it's a mermaid under the sea who somehow the liberal modern discourse has reached even under the sea. And
actually, they went under the knife.
Has the resources, again, under the sea, to go through the procedure.
Well, look, I learned that mermaids were actually very special to the transgender community. They're very emblematic of trans identity because mermaids don't have genitalia.
Correct.
So I've heard from a lot of trans influencers that they say it's very special to them.
So there's
to see their
precedent
representation on screen.
So there's precedent for this.
In a mermaid. There's precedent for this, unfortunately. But the deadline for the casting call is actually today, so I'm sorry to any of our trans viewers who don't get to audition. Look, here's the official casting requirements for Ariel. 18 to 30 years old, white woman, transgender woman, 5'2" to 5'6" in height, a spirited, fun-loving, yet curious mermaid princess who longs to be part of the human world. And for Eric, 18 to 30 years old, white man, transgender man. Height 5'10" to 6 feet, charismatic and fearless, Prince Eric is a true romantic who never gives up on his heart's desire.
Non-singing role.
The only requirement that you must reach, really, is being
trans.
Not the gender of the original character.
and like a height.
And you know,
it also kind of flies in the face of the argument that would usually be made here. The one that I, as the classical liberal here, who would like hope for the best and lose and likely be wrong, when they would say like maybe they just cast the best person for the role. That's clearly not what's happening here.
Would you really have believed that without prior knowledge if they cast a trans Ariel? Genuinely.
3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, not a chance. Yeah. And we already know that they're trying to inject all of this stuff into children's entertainment. But, I mean, seriously, what audience is this for? I mean, this is primarily selling tickets to parents of young children who want to see this, right? Mm-hmm.
So
are they going to be made aware that they're essentially going to a drag show?
So statistically, women have the purchasing power in a household, and so this is why so much of modernity is catered towards women. So fellas, I think it's time to stop saving money and start, getting a little spendy.
Sorry, honey, you don't get to hold on to the checkbook anymore.
I mean, you should have stopped giving Disney money a long time ago. It's not just about don't give money to people who hate you. Don't give money to people who can't learn their lesson ever. And I cannot believe that they're still doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on this agenda when everyone knows what's going on already. Like,
I disagree.
You've been found out.
The average person doesn't know that this is going on. The average normie doesn't know that these things are going on.
Well,
they will go to the stage play and not have any clue.
Sure, the average normie is not intensely aware of the discourse about all of these things, sure. But I think if they were made aware that this is what their dollars were going to, they would not support it.
Did we have the crisis party? Did it go off?
Yeah, we had our first one.
You were disassociating. It went
Yeah,
off.
you must have been dissociating from the cringe.
That's
it already happened. And we actually missed talking about James O'Keefe's latest installment in the Disney tapes, but he is Project Veritas style, Chris Hansen style, exposing every last Disney executive on a Bumble date.
Here is Jeannie Gurnani, creative marketing director at Disney Entertainment Television.
Also a drag queen, by the way.
I left that part out.
unspoken thing.
Jeannie Giannani, the creative marketing director at Disney, was asked about allowing LGBTQ content to be shown to children. Jeannie agreed that he wants children to see the content and that it is, quote, the unspoken thing.
I despise those kind of people that want to accuse of Disney of grooming children, but I also want children to see LGBTQ content. Don't you agree? Yeah, of course.
Look, that was a bit leading. I mean, I feel like the women interviewers were doing it better, but maybe I'm wrong here.
Yeah, that's the unspoken thing. Am I going to see a drag queen at Disneyland or anything like that? Do you want to do that? Get a drag queen at Disneyland. That'd be cool. That would be cool. I'm sure that would happen at some point.
When asked by our OMG undercover journalist if he would authorize drag queens to be present at Disneyland, where children are, mind you, Jeannie the drag
keep
queen
looking
said,
jacked.
well, he would love to, and it will happen at some point. From classic Disney princesses to drag queens, the transformation of children's programming at the Walt Disney Company is happening.
And we talked about another story where this family went to one of the Disney parks, and one of the actors playing the evil queen happened to be a transgender identifying male, playing one of these female characters. And when the father went up and asked about it and said, like, is that person female? They were like, we're not allowed to talk about that. They just, I swear, it's the meme that's like, I swear I won't get political at dinner. And every Disney executive is like, I swear I won't expose my entire company for malpractice and breaking federal law. Me after one espresso martini on my Hinge date with James O'Keefe's undercover journalist. So yeah, we are pushing drag queens on children, and we love it. Like, and this person, by the way, the fact that your creative marketing director moonlights as a drag queen says enough about the person. Like, that person should have been fired years ago when this all started popping off.
Yeah.
I think it was mainly in 2022 that people really started talking about what Disney is up to.
And look, there was an article and there was speeches from Bob Iger not that long ago saying that they were going to pull back on stuff involving the culture war. Everyone who pays any attention to any of this stuff knew that that wasn't true, that this is a ship that is on its way towards an iceberg and you can't really turn it around.
Even if Bob Iger genuinely believes that, all of his underlings are true believers in this. They're not going to surrender unless you axe them all in like a mass firing situation.
It's kind of like how I always talk about when Trump talks about taking out the deep state. I'm like, you do know that that's impossible, right?
Like, your cabinet is the deep state, bro.
Yes.
I think we're missing the greater issue in this video, and it's how are you on a first date and you're like trauma dumping to this degree? Like, it literally takes one drink and a wink for be like, hey, do you want to hear the Machiavellian scheme that I'm up to?
Yeah, literally. It's like, I'm always like, you're on a first date with this person you just met, and they won't ask you any questions about your family, any questions about your hobbies.
This guy was even more pointed than the women. The women were at least a little bit more like.
Dude, the CNN guy was unreal. He was like, guys, climate change, you won't believe it. We're like,
and in the prior ones that they were doing with straight Disney executives on dates with the women, they still just spilled their guts with relatively no effort. And the one guy was like, yeah, we just won't hire a white person for this production. And he, got confronted by James O'Keefe face to face, Chris Hansen style, and was literally on an on foot and then car chase.
Oh, I saw that one.
Like,
he was running with the laptop like this.
It's absolutely pathetic.
Men, she's not that into you, or she works for James O'Keefe.
Yeah, unfortunately.
She's not that into you, she works for James O'Keefe.
I also noticed when we were watching the recent episode of The Acolyte last night.
Oh, yeah.
That they decided to cast a trans-identifying male as one of the lesbian witches in the lesbian witch commune on planet Brendock. And I recognized the face from somewhere, but I clocked it immediately. This is trans YouTuber of Philosophy Tube, who identifies as a woman, named Abigail Thorne.
That's Philosophy Tube?
This is Philosophy Tube playing one of the lesbian witches in The Acolyte.
Okay.
Because nothing is sacred, not even a lesbian witch commune.
Yeah.
It's just like, do you think I'm not gonna notice? I know, like you said, you didn't notice.
I don't even remember the scene you're talking
But the
about.
second it happened, this person had like a 2-word line.
Okay.
The second I heard it, I was like, that's a man.
I didn't even
Like,
what line was it? What, like,
I
at
don't
what
even
point-
remember.
Yeah.
But you know that they only put this person in the show because they're trans.
Yes.
That's the annoying
They weren't
thing.
hired because of their acting
Like,
chops.
you really think that you're gonna hoodwink me? Like, I noticed that.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I felt, didn't they put Lizzo in The Mandalorian?
they put Lizzo in The Mandalorian.
And Jack Black.
And-
It never ends.
I mean, Jack Black is an actual actor. So
I know, but it was odd.
Like,
It was
but
like-
Bill Burr just shows up, and I'm like, huh. Well, all right then.
What's the deal with?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.